for the Friars. Greg Brown along with Bob Walk. Disappointing one again last night, Bob. The Pirates battled back. James McDonald settled down, but the bullpen did in the Buccos. So again, they're trying to snap this 7-game losing streak.
It's been very tough. It seems like it's not always the same thing that's it's going wrong for them right now. The pitching's been a little shaky. Starters. One night we couldn't score any runs. Last night the bullpen didn't come through.
Well, if you look at the last 2 nights, aside from just 4 hits allowed by James McDonald, really he and Morton have done a pretty solid job.
Yeah, it looks like the starters got over that little bump in the road they had, and I think it's going to be fine tonight, especially because Carson's going, and he's really been our best guy throughout the season. But it was good to see the last 2 starts, that's for sure.
And what an interesting pitching matchup it is, a battle between 2 San Diego natives, as Bob mentioned, for the Pirates, Jeff Karstens.
He has been so solid this year. It's just amazing to see the breakthrough season he's had. And here at PNC Park, oh my gosh, 1.83 ERA. Get better than that.
You need a microscope to find out that ERA. And for the San Diego Padres, it's Aaron Harang.
Been real tough on the road. ERA not so good, but still, it's all about wins. That's the name of the game. And he's 4-0. Hasn't lost this year on the road. That's going to end tonight.
13 career wins against the Pittsburgh Pirates for the longtime member of the Cincinnati Reds. It's the Pirates and the Padres. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Should be a great crowd on hand. The Bucs and Padres are next.
Hopefully tomorrow it feels a lot better today than it did yesterday. So hopefully tomorrow's another big jump and I can hop back in the lineup.
Newly acquired first baseman Derek Lee, who was hit by a pitch in the 9th inning on Wednesday against Carlos Marmol, the back of the left hand. Thankful that it isn't anything worse. And as you heard him say, maybe get back in there tomorrow. Took some swings in the batting cage earlier today. The Pirates and the Padres made for game 1 of a 3-game series here at PNC Park. The Bucs took 2 of 3 from the Friars at Petco Park in May. Here is the lineup. Bud Black, the skipper. Cameron Maben in center. Jason Bartlett, the shortstop. Chase Headley is the switch-hitting third baseman. Jesus Guzman is at first base. Orlando Hudson at second. Batting sixth, it's Will Venable. Then it's Kyle Blanks, Luis Martinez, and Aaron Harang. Our PNC achievement, Jeff Karstens. What a job he has done. Second most improved in Major League Baseball in terms of ERA since last year, from 4.92 to 2.49. Look at that ERA under the lights, 1.87. The best of the senior circuit for the achiever in us all.
And don't forget about the control numbers, because that has a lot to do really with what he has done this season. Is the fact that he is just all over the strike zone early, getting ahead. Seems like most of the time everybody's hitting 0-1, sometimes 0-2.
1 ball and 1 strike on Cameron Maben. Try and keep him off the bases, keep as many of these Padres off the bases. They are the runningest team in baseball. Another strike, 1-2. And nice start for this San Diego native. Jeff Karstens striking out Cameron Maben.
Changes his arm angle every now and then on certain pitches. He gets a little lower. That one there, kind of a 3/4 slider. Just sweeps the strike zone with it.
Looking for win number 9 on the year. And a tapper foul by Jason Bartlett. Check out our tips to win from Bob Walk.
Well, let's keep the ball in the yard. We've been giving up way too many home runs over the last week, and Greg, you already talked about how these guys love to run. They will steal constantly. Really going to have to watch them when they get on base. And I think Pedro's going to have a good RBI night.
Swing and a miss at a high fastball.
Well, the reason I say that is because he's hitting between Ludwig and Domit, who both have great numbers against Harang. So Harang, good veteran pitcher. He knows who hits him well. And I think he's going to have to pitch to somebody. It's going to be Alvarez.
Just a shallow pop to right, but Xavier Paul quickly in to make the catch. Check out the Pirates defensively now. Just saw Xavier Paul in right, McCutcheon in center, and the former Padre Ryan Ludwig is in left. Alvarez and Jones on the corners. Cedeno and Walker up the middle. Ryan Domit does the catching for Karstens. Domit making his second straight start since coming off the disabled list. And a strike is called on switch hitting third baseman Chase Headley. Almost 100 points better from the other side, from the right side. And a dribbler foul. 0-2.
Yep, there we are, 0-2. Very popular count this year with Karstens. Loves to get those guys in that hole all the time.
Clint Hurdle with Gary Green, one of the Pirates minor league coaches. And what a start. 10 pitches, a couple of Ks, 1, 2, 3. Go the Padres. Aaron Harang takes the hill against the Bucks.
Sports is sponsored by Barrel Automotive. Barrel.com. Definitely worth the click. Let's go Bucks.
Here's the Pirates lineup brought to you by Toyota. Moving forward, it's Andrew McCutchen, Garrett Jones, and Neil Walker. Ryan Ludwig hits cleanup. Pedro Alvarez, Ryan Doman follow. Then Xavier Paul, Ronnie Cedeno, and Jeff Karstens against another San Diego native. And now with the Padres, Aaron Harang having a bounce-back season. A 33-year-old, longtime Cincinnati Reds right-hander as McCutchen shows bunt and takes ball one. Harang's numbers on the season. It's drifting toward the seats right side and will be out of play as Will Venable gives chase.
Harang, no stranger to the Pirates, that's for sure, all those years in Cincinnati. Pirates no stranger to Harang.
Look out. It sounded like they got a piece of something. It sounded like a double click, but apparently not.
It's like a foul tipper. No, got nothing.
And a base hit. That certainly has been, over the past couple of months, the book on how to pitch McCutchen. Everybody is doing that. Up and in. But McCutchen on the next pitch, this single to left.
Looks like a breaking ball that was outside part of the strike zone. Pitching up and in, obviously not intimidating McCutchen, had no effect whatsoever.
Well, the question we keep asking is McCutchen, now that he's on and in that leadoff spot, going to take off here. 17 steals. Talk about the Padres, the most stolen bases in the National League. McCutchen, 17 steals, caught 6 times. The young catcher behind the plate is Luis Martinez, making just his 6th start. Line drive, fair ball, just past Guzman into the right field corner. And Garrett Jones into second base with a double. The Pirates setting up shop, black and gold at second and third. Nobody out.
Well, Jones been getting some doubles of late. This one here, a little fortunate that wasn't a double play, but was just hit too hard to be caught.
2 doubles last night. He had 5 hits in the series against the Cubs, including a couple of homers. And now an excellent opportunity for Neil Walker. 64 RBIs with Ryan Ludwig on deck. Ball 1. Last night, Walker 0 for 4. He was 4 out of 16 in the 4-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Infield back with the exception of the third baseman Headley.
Harang doesn't want to fall behind early in this game, but the way it has started, he was certainly trading out for a run right now, especially if it's an out that keeps Jones at second base. That's what he's really looking for.
One ball, 1 strike. And away, 2-1. Batting .288 from this side of the plate, Walker.
Neil wants to pull this ball. If it's on the ground, that's fine. Get his RBI and move Jones to third. Probably be the best case scenario other than a base hit.
A little flare to shallow center field and base hit as Bartlett looked as though he had a beat on it.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to make that play.
Almost looked like he fanned on it.
Yeah, I think Jones thought he might have been blocked a little bit. I think he thought that he did catch it for a moment.
65 RBIs for Walker, 1-0 Pirates. Yeah, you see Jones taking a long time before.
He wanted to make sure that that ball actually hit the grass before he took off. And that's good. You know, I mean, when there's nobody out, you don't want to run into an out. You make sure you're in the middle of a possible big inning. Don't make an out being too aggressive on the bases.
Line drive, Ludwig. 2-0 Pirates, nobody out. Ludwig greets his former mates with his second Pirate hit, his second Bucco RBI, and again 66 on the year now.
That was an absolute bullet. Looked like just a fastball down the middle. Harang, I'm sure, knows that Ludwig over the years has really hit him hard. If you saw the strike zone presented by Range Resources there, that was right down to the middle. He put it on a tee for him, and Ludwig smoked it in the left.
Ludwig now hitting close to 400 in his career against Aaron Harang. Darren Balsley, the pitching coach for the Padres, makes an early visit. McCutchen and Jones have scored, nobody out. And here is Alvarez against Harang. Alvarez was 0 for 2 against Harang back on May the 2nd. Harang lasted 5 innings in the Pirates' 4-3 victory at Petco. And double play possibility. 2 outs.
My strategy for Pedro is it kind of went to the wind here early on. Thinking that Pedro was going to have a big night was because he wasn't going to pitch to Ludwig. So what's he do? He starts Ludwig out with a fastball right down the middle and pays the price. And now he's going to start, spinning a few. And he throws the breaking ball, first pitch, curveball to Alvarez, and he put it on the ground for the double play.
Ludwig and Alvarez erased, and now the batter Domit. Ball 1.
Domit's number's pretty good against Harang.
308 lifetime. 8 for 26 with a pair of homers. 2-0 on Ryan Domit. Starting his second consecutive game. 2 out of 4 last night. Domit will be retired. Guzman to Harang. Pirates do get 2. Things settle down for Harang after the Ludwig single. in the first inning. Also has done good work defensively. Outfield assists among National League outfielders. Carlos Lee with 10, and there's Ludwig along with Hunter Pence with 9. Andrew McCutcheon right up there. Barrel Automotive definitely worth the click. League leaders in outfield assists. Brings up Jesus Guzman. Guzman has played in 35 games and hitting .337. He's 27-year-old. Signed as a minor league free agent over the winter from the San Francisco Giants organization. Strike one. 1-2-3 top of the first for Karsten. Struck out a pair. Guzman, then Orlando Hudson and Will Venable. 0-2.
Well, Carson's just about unhittable at this point early on. Take a look at the strike zone presented by Range Resources. Got them chasing, they're taking strikes.
And on the 0-2 pitch, Guzman singles into center.
But I don't think that was really all that bad of a spot for an 0-2 pitch.
Here's another look.
Let's take a look at the location. See exactly where it is. Yeah, I think that's even off the plate a little bit, Greg.
Yep. It was a ball low and away off the plate. But you can see Karsten's and the Pirates' game plan is to take advantage of the fact that no team has struck out more times in all of baseball than these San Diego Padres. 940 times these batters have gone down on strikes. Orlando Hudson bats from the left side.
They have a very poor team batting average. They run a lot, but they can't steal first.
Lowest batting average in the league at .232. Ball's behind Hudson.
But the Pirates on the other team are one of the poorest stabs in getting strikeouts. Something's got to break today. I think we're maybe 16th in the league in strikeouts. It's pitching staff.
Falls behind 3-0 on Hudson. Hudson in a 1-for-21 slump. James McDonald chatting with Kevin Correa. Typical J-Mac when he's not starting.
If you're sitting next to him in the dugout,
you're going to hear some
You're going to have to be in a
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, and you're going to laugh. More than likely, you're going to see these guys chuckling with what this guy is saying.
Yeah, look, there it is. I don't think Correa said a word yet.
Nope.
He's just listening, all ears.
Now 3-2. Full count on Orlando Hudson, batting .224 from this side of the plate this year. Guzman 3 for 3 in the stolen base department. And the runner goes. It's hit hard to deep center field. McCutcheon is back. Off the wall. And it's second and third. Hudson. A drive to deep center field off the fence.
He's showing a little pop in his bat. Well, not a bad pitch. A little above the knees outside part of the plate. And he goes out and takes it the other way, but drove it right to the fence, about halfway up, it looked like. It was close to another home run. Pirates have given up 16 home runs in the last week. Of course, 6 of those coming in one game, but then there's another 10 that they still gave up over the other 6 days, it's obviously a problem right now.
Venable with a base hit makes it 2-1. Will Venable singles to right, scoring Guzman, and moves Hudson to third. Nobody out.
They're in a great situation now to try and tie this game. The double by Hudson set this up. One hit very hard. Ball came up and in. Got up there on the label so it wouldn't carry out far enough for Jones to catch it.
Well, the Pirates began the bottom of the first inning with 4 consecutive hits. The Padres have started the second inning with 3 straight hits. Here's Kyle Blanks, the big left fielder. 3 for 32 at the big league level. When they traded Ryan Ludwig, they called Blanks back up. They're going to give him a shot. 6'6", 272 pounds, a 42nd round pick in 2004. He has struck out 15 times at the big league level in those 32 at bats.
Reminds me of Big Country.
Yeah, Brad Eldred. That's a good call. I was trying to think when the last time a Pirate had this kind of size. It's a great call right there. Padres version of Big Country, Brad Eldred. Kyle Blanks made his big league debut a couple of years ago. Has had some injury woes.
We'll fake the third base, see if there was anything going on the bases.
Born in Souderton, PA, near Philly, Montgomery County, eastern part of the state. And the ball blocked, but skips away, and on to second goes Venable.
Well, Venable got a real nice jump on that. He was out to a good secondary lead, and because of the anticipation, that ball didn't have to get away very far for him to move up without a play. There he is, a couple of hops, and as soon as that ball hit the dirt, he was gone. A little Superman slide.
Slow breaking ball, and 1-2 the count on Venable, on Blanks.
Big slow bender. See it by the strike zone, presented by Range Resources. Not really a great spot for that pitch, but it was the lack of speed that really made the difference in the swing and a miss.
Pop up, shallow left. Cedeno over the shoulder grab. Runners hold.
Cedeno quickly turning around to see what was going on at third base. Hudson not wanting to even think about a tag. He came down the line just in case that ball dropped.
Eighth man in the order, catcher Luis Martinez. His 9th start. Hitting .250. I should say his 9th game, his 6th start. Ball 1. 26-year-old native of Miami. Nick Hundley is rehabbing in the minor leagues, a strained elbow. Their starting catcher should be returning soon.
Karstens, who's always pounding the strike zone, goes 2-0 here because maybe he has an open base, thinking that if I walk him, not the end of the world. Maybe I can get Harang to hit a ground ball and get out of the sitting with a double play. But that's always, for me, a little dangerous strategy early in a game like this. Get out where you can get it.
And a run will score.
I mean, that's just you deal with the problem at hand. You had that runner over there at third base, nobody out. You almost have to assume, okay, he's already in. I'm not going to pay any attention to him. I'm just going to try and get my 3 outs. No pitching around anybody. Just get the hitters out and start over from scratch.
2-all. Harang hitting 143 this season, 5 out of 35. Career .097 average. And a fly ball, left center. Ludwig over and makes the catch. The Padres come right back. After the Pirates scored twice in the first, they scored twice in the second.
Pittsburgh Pirates baseball on Root Sports is sponsored by Pepsi Max. Go to 2012springbaseball.com for a chance to win a trip for you and 9 friends. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go, Bucks!
Head to the bottom half of the second inning at PNC Park. It's the first game of 3 with the Padres on a gorgeous night, 90 degrees at game time. And it's Xavier Paul to lead off the bottom of the second against Harang. A T-shirt Friday, a free shirt Friday. Expecting great crowds all weekend long. Iron City Music presents Sky Blast tomorrow night with Train. Sunday afternoon, Kids Day. Andrew McCutcheon drawstring bags to all the youngsters. Go to Pirates.com for tickets. And the bunt by Paul going to have to be perfect for Harang. He goes ahead and throws it, but no chance. Xavier Paul, a bunt single to start the second.
That's a great bunt. Not sure anybody can throw him out, but what do you think, Reggie? You think that's Martinez's ball?
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
he's barely outside the dirt circle. He just gives up on it.
Well, you know, now that I saw it a second time, maybe not.
Well, the only reason I say that is because he really, again, I have to go back and look at it, maybe on regular speed, it looked like he really paused and hesitated. I think if he gets out of there quickly, immediately upon the bunt, I think it's his ball.
Yeah, I think that's why I noticed it, because it didn't look like he was very aggressive coming out of that crouch to go after the ball.
But still, a great bunt by Xavier Paul.
You know, that's the bottom line. It was a great bunt. Probably nobody going to get him out.
He has 13 stolen bases in 18 attempts. And a pitch out.
There it is again. Watch, he kind of like, nah, I'm not going to get it.
A lot of catchers will immediately whip that mask off and just scream, mine, mine. But, again, bottom line is a great bunt. Ronnie Cedeno hitting .246.
After watching it a couple of times, I started thinking, well, maybe the third baseman's got to be the guy to make that play. You know, maybe he should be yelling, calling everybody off. You have a play like that.
Close play over at first base. Talk about the running Padres. The Bucks not running as often these days. They've lost a lot of speed in their lineup with injuries. Xavier Paul, one of those who will run.
He's been very successful at it.
Oh my, look at this. Pickoff try, skips into foul territory. He could go to third, and he will. Here's the throw. He's there, and that's what speed can do.
Yeah, Greg, I think they had him picked off, or it would have been very close if they would have got any kind of a good throw. He definitely flinched towards second base. Watch him flinch towards second.
No doubt.
That throw's on the bag. They might get him, but obviously nowhere close to the bag. And Paul made him pay. Good hustle.
That would have been very close.
See the problem again with a right-handed first baseman.
Little flare base hit for Cedeno. The Bucks get the lead right back.
Shallow Hudson's playing second base on that. Why wouldn't he be back? Maybe he's looking for a bunt also.
Probably the book on Cedeno.
Very shallow on this. If he's back at the edge of the grass, he might be able to make this catch. How far he'd creeped in. He was definitely looking for a bunt.
And Cedeno has tried that a handful of occasions.
You play in now because it's a double play situation. Or, excuse me, no, it's not. Take that back.
And the sacrifice for Jeff Karstens, beautifully done. 2-4. Seventh time he's dropped down a successful sacrifice bunt. Puts Cedeno in scoring position.
Hudson definitely had the scouting report on Cedeno that he may drop down a bunt with a man at third base. It had to be why he was creeping in like that, thinking that he at any moment might have to break the first, cover the bag. And that's another reason why you want to drop down a bunt every now and then. Get that reputation. Bring those guys in a little closer. You get a hit like that occasionally. Bring the third baseman in a little bit. Make him play on the grass. The first couple of pitches.
McCutcheon, a big cut, fouls it back out of play. Singleton scored in the first. Pirates with 6 hits already. Through the first 9 batters, Harang has retired 3, including the sacrifice bunt there by Karstens. Squibber foul. McCutcheon with 64 RBIs. And after the acquisitions of Lee and Ludwig moved up to the leadoff spot, Jose Tabata will begin a rehab at AAA Indianapolis. Flew there tonight, so that is good news. Hopefully Alex Presley isn't too far away. Blocked by Martinez. Ball in the dirt.
Martinez taking that one off the check protector. Just like you're supposed to.
Alex Presley continues to work through the numbness at left hand. Flicks that one to right field, sends it a long way. And Venable makes the catch. Two outs.
Well, for his size, he can pack a lot of power. Not very big, and as you said, it was like he flicked this ball out to right field. Just jumped off his bat.
Cedeno tags, moves to third. Garrett Jones doubled over the head of the first baseman Guzman.
Guzman, it wasn't like it was too far away from him. He just couldn't get his glove up in time. It was hit that hard. It's a bullet down into the corner.
Fifth straight extra base hit for Garrett Jones. That double. Two home runs on Tuesday. Bounced back after his 3 strikeout 0 for 3 game on Wednesday with a couple of doubles last night. And also drove the ball to the warning track once and to the wall another time last night. Bucks get the lead back here in the second. And that should reach the stands. Headley over to take a look. One ball, 2 strikes the count. And still 1-2. Missed away. Fastball 2-2. Aaron Harang coming off his 3rd worst start of the year on Saturday against Colorado. Gave up 6 runs, 6 hits, 5 2/3, and over his last 3 starts, a .688 ERA. Look out, way down there, but that was a rope.
It'd be interesting to see some kind of a study. I'm sure I could figure this out. Older pitchers, Greg, in August.
I think they start to wear down a bit?
Yeah, I just wonder. The guys that have thrown tons and tons of innings over the years.
You must be having some recollection of some pitchers in the past, right? I mean, not to name names. I'm just.
Oh, one guy in particular, the guy that I see when I look in the mirror. Yeah, but
I wasn't talking about you.
No, I was just thinking about that with Harang, and we were discussing this just a couple of days ago about our own pitchers when our starters were starting to struggle. Was it because you're getting into August? And I've always thought maybe that's a little bit of a problem, but it's got to affect older guys that.
It's funny, the only reason I say that, I ask you that, is because it's the common wisdom now is that it's the younger pitchers who are starting to build up major league innings and that they want to. But I wonder.
I don't know, yeah. Really, they should be the guys that are in shape.
Yeah. Aaron Harang last year, after his opening day start, the 5th straight as a member of the Cincinnati Reds, went on to win just 6 games, a .532 ERA, and a walk. And he does seem to be laboring. I don't know that that's any news to you. After giving up the 2 runs, 4 hits in the first inning, and got the big double play ball off the bat of Alvarez. The bunt single starting things off here in the second. McCutchen driving him to the wall in right field. The other way, Bud Black, manager of the year last season. The Padres were the darlings of baseball in 2010, finishing 90 and 72. Of course, they really faded down the stretch, dousing any playoff hopes.
It's still a pretty solid season to get over 90 wins.
They had the best record in the National League on August 25th last year. 0-1 count. And now 0-2 on Neil Walker. Singled in a run in the first. Will pop up to shallow center. He now has driven in 65. Cedeno at third. Jones at first.
Yeah, San Diego's kind of gotten the reverse reputation of what the Rockies used to have, you know, where all that offense couldn't win on the road. And now it's in San Diego, because of that new ballpark, it's all about pitching. Such a dominant place to pitch for pitchers. But can they win on the road when they build a team that takes advantage of that? Question mark, I think.
Out recorded by Maben in center. The Pirates regain the lead and are up by 1.
Ruth and Irene, 85-year-old identical twins who have been Pirate fans their entire lives. You guys drove in from West Virginia for the game. Irene, I want to start with you. What is the best thing you like about the Pirates?
Their team. They're a team.
And your favorite player goes back to when?
Jason Kendall.
All right. Now, Ruth, how about you? You have a favorite player as well?
Bob Rock.
Bob Walk.
Yeah, I still like him.
Do you like him more as a player or as a broadcaster?
Both.
Oh! Well, I meant to send Bob down here.
He's great.
Now, you guys made the trip in from Wheeling, West Virginia. It's been a little while since you've been here.
Yes.
Best seat you've ever had.
Right.
I take it you'll come back for more?
Of course.
You guys enjoy the game. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
85 years strong, guys. Back up to you.
All right, thanks, Dan, Ruth, and Irene. Andrew McCutcheon nearly robbing Maben of a double, and he will tell you he should have made the catch.
Yeah, it looked like he timed his leap pretty well. Gets up there. AGH cam will tell the story. Oh, just over the top of the glove. Half an inch. I may have to go down there later and see one of my fans.
Yeah. How about that? Bucko fan for 80-plus years, and her favorite, Bob Walk.
Yeah.
As a player and an announcer. Both. You know, when Dan asked, was a player, what are you kidding? Both. A silly question, Dan. Deep third. A little pause and a tough little play. Nicely done by Jones, and still Maben moves to third.
And that was a very nice play by Jones. It was a long enough hop that where he could kind of get a beat on it. But Maben's come way off the line. He's just waiting for that throw so he can take off, use his speed to get over to third base. But that ball came up a little bit. Jones had to make a nice little adjustment.
Garrett Jones played a lot of first base, before this season, but for someone who has started only 6 games previously this year at first base, that's a heck of a job.
Never forget.
One ball, one strike to count on Headley, the infield back. Headley struck out in the first. Trying to tie the game once again. Three and one. Headley a career high 5 hits 2 years ago right here at PNC Park, September 21st. Went 5 for 6 against the Bucks. And this will bring in the run.
Well, Maben using that speed to kind of create that run. Being able to get over to third base. A lot of guys won't even try that, to go over on a throw from third, but made it without a play, and because of that, it's a tie ball game.
Guzman singled on an 0-2 pitch in the second. So far doing good work at first base. Don't know what his long-term position would be. Obviously they're looking for someone to fill in until Anthony Rizzo is ready. One of the players they acquired in the Adrian Gonzalez deal. Gonzalez now starring with the Boston Red Sox. Bud Black knew over the winter that would be a huge hole. They're not going to fill right away. Rizzo hit just 143 and 98 at bats the big leagues this season. Was sent back recently to the minors.
That definitely is not the whole reason, but a big reason of why this season is so different from last year for the Pods.
And Alvarez continues to
might go as an error.
Show inconsistency at third base. Sometimes really fabulous plays, and then others struggling to keep that ball in the glove. That is his 12th error.
He's got that fantastic arm, and he does pull off the phenomenal play occasionally. But he has to get better. He has to make improvements on all the everyday plays. And he will.
Nothing going. Pitch out to Hudson. He doubled off the center field fence his first time up against Karstens.
He got a ball that was just a little away from him. Outside half of the plate. He went with it. Hit it hard right at the bullpen.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Game's not the way I thought it was going to be. I thought we might have a quick-paced pitching type game. We are in the top of the third. Already 6 runs been scored tonight.
Still a ball and 2 strikes. The veteran Orlando Hudson playing with his 4th different team in the last 4 years. Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Twins, and now Padres. Two.
Hudson was trying to get as close to that ball as he could, try and make it look like it was way inside. He really leaned into it, didn't he?
Yep.
I think he was maybe a little concerned that was going to stay on the inside corner.
Right side, the backhand flip. And Walker to Cedeno. Go to the bottom of the 3rd. 3-all. Key matchup of the day from Day Automotive. Career against Harang. Ryan Ludwig now batting .387, including his RBI single in the first. .310 career against San Diego. Add to that, Ludwig 2 for 2 tonight.
Same 2 pitches, 2 hits. This time a little breaking ball got whacked to the outfield.
They were talking about Nick Hundley rehabbing down in the minor leagues. The starting catcher for the Padres, he was talking the other day, San Diego papers, about Ludwig after he was traded to the Pirates. He said, I think maybe other than David Eckstein, he's as professional a teammate as I've ever been around. His ability to come to the park every day, no matter whether he's going good or bad, never complains, never pouts, plays hard, plays hurt. He's everything you can ask in a teammate.
You think about it, Greg, the 2 guys we picked up, 2 of the better citizens around the National League. When you look at the character aspect of it, couldn't do much better than he and Derek Lee.
Ground ball and a possible double play again. Twice Alvarez hits it into double plays.
Arrogant from the crowd a little bit tonight after the error on defense. That ball actually was hit fairly hard, but if it can be collected up by a middle infielder, it's going to be a double play. And Orlando Hudson, one of the best second basemen in the league for a long time when it comes to glove work.
4-time Gold Glove Award winner Orlando Hudson.
Tough to get one by him.
He has won that award for 3 different teams. Ball and a strike on Doman.
Think about it, as good as he is, it's kind of odd that he would have bounced around so much the last handful of years.
Yeah, decent hitter.
I mean, he's not going to be a a force on offense most of the time, but you're right, he's a decent hitter and an excellent glove guy. What it probably is nowadays, Greg, is when teams try to prioritize their money, who they're going to spend it on. A decent hitting second baseman, good glove man is just not high up on the priority. Right. So he doesn't get that contract that he really is looking for. So
that's exactly right.
Somewhere else.
Domit with the shift on, hits a drive deep to right center field, clear the deck. Cannonball coming. Domit's 5th and his first since coming back off the DL a couple of days ago. Gives the Pirates the lead right back.
I think this ball might have been the outside part of the plate. We were talking the other day about inside outside on home runs. And this is one of those balls that I believe we're going to see. It's going to be away. Could be wrong. Take a look at the strike zone. Oh yeah, outside corner, and he just went out, got it, put it over the right center field fence.
Now Paul with a big swing and a miss. Just the 11th allowed by Harang this season. Of course, playing half your home games at Petco helps that number. Domit, number 5 on the year.
I was talking earlier about that. That it really is the same situation that Colorado was in for years and years before they got the humidor. Well, they have that in reverse at Petco. It's such a great place to pitch. It's going to be very difficult for him over the years to get.
And that shot down the right field corner. At least 2 for Xavier Paul. Better be handled cleanly, and it is. A 2-out double.
But Paul was looking the whole time down there as he was making his way from first to second base just to see any kind of a bobble. Paul really a lot like what we saw out of Chase Darno. He's very aggressive. He loves to take the extra base, and he goes out there looking for it all the time.
There's the Domit home run once again.
So reaches out and doesn't really hook the outside pitch, but still pulls it. Now, if you're giving up, home runs and they're all away like that, and they're being hit to the pole side, then that kind of tells you, okay, it's time to do some inside pitching.
Jeff Karstens will come to the plate after the intentional walk to Cedeno. The Bucks in this early seesaw affair get the lead back with the home run. And from the splash cam, take a look at what it looks like from this angle. What a good sound that is, isn't it, Bob?
Yes, it is. The crack of the bat.
Able to get a souvenir, the Domit dinger.
Yeah, that was hit like a cannonball. I wouldn't want to get in front of a cannonball or that home run.
Karstens sacrificed in the second. 2 RBIs. What a big hit from James McDonald. The bases loaded in the 4th inning last night. It was such a nice W to get. With all that was involved.
Stan and I were talking about that on the pregame show, that it seems to me that kind of a hit should have been what broke the spell, got us out of the losing streak. Kind of a bolt from the blue.
Yep.
But it just did not happen. Pirates couldn't hold on to the lead late.
Karstens can't hold back his swing strikeout, but Ryan Doman hit the home run. The Pirates have the lead back.
Baseball on Root Sports is sponsored by Toyota. Buy right the first time and save more. Visit your local Toyota dealer for details. And by AT&T. Let's go Bucks!
Trivia question from AT&T Mobility involving Neil Walker. He's been involved in a lot of double plays. He leads the National League among second basemen with 78 double plays turned. Who was the last Pirates second baseman to lead the league for a season?
Well, Greg, I might have to go recent, like Freddie Sanchez. He and Jack seem like they were turning tons of double plays.
Pedro Alvarez diving to his left, not able to cut off the ball hit by Will Venable, who's 2 for 2.
Yeah, that's going to be my guess. I'm going to go with Freddie, but leading the league, I'm probably end up being wrong.
Well, I'll just go. I won't agree with you this time. I agree with you too often, so I will go off the board. I'll say Chico Lean, just for the heck of it.
Okay.
Free Shirt Friday, thanks to the folks at Trib Total Media for giving away that. What a popular giveaway that has become. Free Shirt Fridays.
Really good. Great crowd we have here tonight. Yeah, those shirts have been awesome.
Kyle Blanks with Will Venable aboard. Will Venable, the son of a former big leaguer, Max Venable. Kyle Blanks, not related to the former Brave and Indian infielder Larvell Blanks. Karstens, who attended Mount Miguel High School in San Diego. Making his second start against the Padres this season. A no decision his last time. And bounce left side and another hit.
Just 2 ground balls, but perfectly placed. Take a look at the location, down and in, and nothing special about this ground ball. Just right there in the hole. Think back to that ball that Pedro hit. Same situation, man on first. He hit it a lot harder than that, but he hit it where Hudson could get a glove on it, turned into a double play. So One of the great things about baseball is it's why you play so many games. Because is there another game where luck plays so much, into it? Can't be. You got to play all 6 months every day. Hopefully the cream will always come to the top. But on any given night, a lot of times it's who hits the balls where there's nobody standing there to catch it.
Fly ball to right center field and a diving try, and it is going to drop, and a run's going to score, and it's tied up again. McCutcheon.
If there was any example of what I'm talking about, it's this inning right here. 2 little ground balls and then just a little flare off the bat, and there's nobody plays right there that can catch that ball. Just dunks in, great effort. McCutcheon laying out completely for that ball. Watching it right to the glove. Just couldn't reach far enough.
Great shot from the AGH cam once again. Harang wants the ball foul. Seven hits now for San Diego.
Karstens right now. This is where you're in your mind. You're thinking, okay, if it's a bad bunt, he's 6'7", 270 out there. He can't be that fast. If it's a bad bunt, if I can get to it quick, I'm thinking about getting that force out at third base.
And it's 0-2. And now what are you thinking, Bob? With a 2-strike count. If you're the pitcher.
Well, I'm thinking for a strikeout now.
Yeah. I mean.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Once you get to 2 strikes, now it's like a heck with it. I'm not going to let him bunt. I'm going to try and strike him out, because then we don't have to worry about getting that force out over at third base.
Swinging away, grounds it towards short, toss to third. Nicely done by Cedeno, and Alvarez decides not to throw to first. So they get the lead man. Four on the putout.
Kind of a heads-up play by Cedeno to be there for that. As he's squaring around right now, Cedeno, his responsibility is second base, but when he pulled the bat back, you saw him fade back toward the shortstop position and was there to catch that little ground ball.
6-5 on the putout, short to third. And here is Cameron Maben. He has struck out. And a double off the wall in center. Maben, a first-round pick of the Tigers 6 years ago, was dealt to the Florida Marlins in the blockbuster deal that sent Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis to Detroit from the Marlins. And a dribbler. Going quickly out. He guns it. Almost sails over Jones's head.
As he was picking that ball up, I'm thinking in my mind, don't throw it. All that can happen is something bad, because I don't think you're going to get Maben. He runs too well here. And if you throw it bad, it's going to be 2 runs.
Well, they needed the entire Garrett Jones frame there, didn't they?
Yeah, if this ball goes down into the corner, 2-run score. Jones able to get up and make the play.
Garrett Jones listed as 6'4".
He's taller than that.
Yeah.
Garrett Jones is listed 6'4".
Yeah.
I want to see that tape measure. He's 6'5" if he's an inch.
Bases loaded. Jason Bartlett has flied out and grounded out. 4 all. Infield hit from Maben. Karstens really can't seem to get a break here. One career grand slam for Bartlett. He has hit into 8 double plays. It's tied for the team lead. Nice pitch, nice block from Domit. Ahead 0-2.
Oh, breaking ball down and away. Going quickly to his knees. Keep that runner at third. All right, here again, Greg, you're thinking strikeout. If the ball's not put in play, it can't find a little hole. Anything put in play, you can be unlucky.
Close. No call there from Tim McClellan.
It's inside, but just by a smidgen. See it on the strike zone. Looks like he nodded yes and then no 3 times. Why would he do that?
Finally, Bartlett calls time.
Yes, no, yes usually means fastball. I'll tell you why here in a moment.
Breaking ball, line down the line.
Hook foul.
That is a foul ball.
That would have been the big hit they're looking for right now. Hung a breaking ball. Not a good location on a 1-2 pitch, but he got away with it. Now, if it's a full count, you got to throw it right down the middle. Got to be a strike, but not 1 and 2. Full count, you can't walk anybody. The bases are loaded. Got to throw it for a strike. But that's a situation there. That's a physical error. He didn't mean to throw that curveball right down the middle. Guarantee you that.
Another 1-2 pitch to Bartlett.
Greg, the reason when you see a pitcher go yes, no, yes, the reason it's almost always a fastball. It's a bad habit pitchers will get into. They'll say yes to a fastball, but they're saying no right away because they don't like the location. You know, if you say, fastball away, they're going yes, but no. And so then they go back to the inside. He says yes again. The hitter knows, okay, I got a fastball coming. Clear the decks. And that's what happens when they know what's coming. You got to clear the decks. It's a little tell. A lot of times a good catcher, when they see that yes, no, yes, they'll call time. Because they know that the pitcher just gave it away.
Well, now it's 3-2, no place to put him.
So there was nothing there. He just looked in, saw the sign, went to a stretch. I always think that's the best thing. Don't even nod your head. Look in, and if you don't like it, just keep staring, and they'll change. And if you like it, go into your stretch. They know you liked it. You don't ever have to nod yes or no.
But it's just a habit pitchers get into, huh? Another 3-2 pitch, another foul ball. Just got a piece.
And a lot of fans couldn't tell that ball was down underneath Doman. Thought that was a swing and a miss. Now we got a piece of it.
Bartlett acquired from Tampa Bay for 4 minor leaguers. Originally drafted by the Padres 10 years ago. Another 3-2 pitch. And a bases loaded walk. Now gives San Diego the lead.
Yeah, that ball really had a lot of movement on it. And Carson's will get a little sink on his fastball a lot. That ball shot in. Took off. Sailed a little bit. Watch how far this ball moves inside. Look at it, it just takes off right there. That looked like a Charlie Morton pitch. The way it takes off to the inside.
Ray Searage out to talk with Karstens and Doman. Take the Pirates with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv. See every Pirates game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Pirates.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Hurdle has a man loosening in the bullpen, or at least someone is up. I believe Tony Watson. Headley, a fly ball. Deep to right center field. And Chase Headley has hit a grand slam. Chase Headley's 4th home run of the season is a granny, and it is an 9-4 lead for the San Diego Padres in the 4th. 9-4.
The ball getting over the fence has just been a disaster for the Pirates these last 7 games. Now 8 games. Since that first game in Philadelphia, this is the 17th home run they've given up.
An early exit for Jeff Karstens. Watching his starter Jeff Karstens, his shortest start of the season.
This is just an amazing streak the Pirates have got themselves in. As solid as Karstens has been this year, every 5 days, I'm so surprised to see this happen. Think about the base hits. They were just so routine. Little ground ball here, little ground ball there, finding the holes. Little flare, pop fly.
So 3 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 9 runs. All earned. A walk, 2 strikeouts. The grand slam, the first for Chase Headley's career. Tony Watson. The second out, Guzman.
Now what the Pirates have to look at right now, they've scored 4 runs in 3 innings. You just have to believe in your offense can get you back in this. You've had 9 hits so far in 3 innings. A harangue is not getting you out, so you just hope when you get to the bottom of the inning you can do something similar to what the Padres just did. Can't give up.
And certainly Tony Watson has to shut it down.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can climb the mountain. You have to believe that 5 runs, okay, we can do this. But the mountain can't get any higher. The bullpen has to be perfect now the rest of the night.
Hudson 1 for 2 against Karstens. One and two on Orlando Hudson. Watson gets the last 2 outs. San Diego scores 6 and leads it 9-4. All kids 14 and under get an Andrew McCutcheon drawstring bag, courtesy of Bayer. Invite you to come out early for the #1 Cochrane Kids Fun Zone out on Federal Street, just outside the ballpark, and stay after the game. All kids are invited to run the bases. Thanks to H.K. Anderson Pretzels. Go to Pirates.com for tickets. There's that drawstring bag you'll receive if you're 14 years of age or younger. Aaron Harang's first pitch to McCutcheon is a strike. McCutcheon singled sharply to left his first time up and scored. Hit a ball to the wall in right field his last at bat. Harang, the veteran, see what he does with a 5-run lead. I mentioned coming off his 3rd worst start of the season.
Well, he's given up 9 hits tonight, 3 innings, 4 runs. The Pirates have to keep the pressure on him. I know that coming up with 5 this inning would be something that you probably impossible, but get back on the board with at least 1 or 2.
Fly ball to right toward the track. McCutcheon 1 for 3. Harang at home this season at Petco 5-3, 3.45 ERA. On the road he's 4-0 with an earned run average of 4.31. Making his 24th career appearance against the Bucks. 13-6, his lifetime mark versus Pittsburgh with a 4.19 ERA. Talk about over his last 3 starts, an ERA nearing 7 before that stretch. Over a 7-game span, he had an earned run average of 135. He was pitching very well. Garrett Jones has doubled and walked.
They picked a good spot to go to try and come back to his career.
Towards shallow center. And Garrett Jones on base for the third straight time. So our AT&T mobility trivia question involving Neil Walker leads the National League. 70 double plays among second basemen. The last Pirates second baseman to lead the league for a season. Freddie Sanchez, you called it right on again, Bob. 104 double plays in 2008. You are amazing.
No, it was a total guess. I didn't know that, but just, you know,
common sense.
Yeah, he and Jack Wilson just for a couple of years there were double play machine. And we had a lot of left-hand pitching in our starting rotation. Left-handed pitching gets a lot of ground balls to the left side. Second baseman's got to be right there at the pivot.
Freddie Sanchez out for the year, I believe, with the Giants. They recently acquired Jeff Keppinger.
It's always been the tough thing with Freddie is just keeping him on the field. At the very beginning of his career, he's had to fight injury, really. In the very beginning of his baseball playing as a kid, he's had to struggle with injuries.
Neil Walker in his first full season in the major leagues as a second baseman. You know his story, of course, drafted in the first round as a catcher. And the Pirates made the decision a few years ago with Ronnie Paulino performing so well at the big league level and feeling like they had a guy who was going to be their starter behind the plate for quite some time, and with Walker apparently struggling defensively, well, that's something you could argue. There's a base hit, softly hit to right. Runners at first and second. So they moved Walker to the infield, and he has been doing fine as a second baseman for sure. Neil Walker has only been in the big leagues for 2 seasons, but he's been a star to the people of Pittsburgh for years. Catch a special inside Pirates baseball. Walk to the Park this Monday night at 9 on Root Sports. A special IPB. Walk to the Park, starring, of course, Neil Walker.
Well, he's such a great athlete. He would have probably been a pretty darn good big leaguer just about any position you would have put him in. And his attitude, he just wants to play.
Yep.
Just give me a spot out there and I'll take care of it. And ended up being second base. And he's taking care of business.
Ryan Ludwig looks at a pitch after getting a couple of base hits on 2 pitches in the first and third. An RBI single in the first inning, giving him 66 RBIs for the season. And 2 on Ludwig.
He's already seen twice as many pitches. He's seen in the previous 2 at-bats. First pitch swinging. There we go.
Look at this. 3 for 3. And Leiva going to hold up Jones. Bases are loaded with 1 out.
And with 1 out, Jones had the freeze on the line drive, especially 9-4. Cannot make a mistake like that.
Bob, you talk about a crazy game this baseball is. It's such a great game for so many reasons. Here's Ludwig against his former team just a few days after the trade. Got his first Pirate hit and RBI last night. 3 for 3 tonight with an RBI. Jones, the freeze, as Bob said, and then on to third. And the other thing about baseball, you get opportunities to turn a night around. It's early. It's only the 4th inning, but Pedro Alvarez can get the fans back on his side in this situation. They're loaded. He's hit into 2 double plays, has committed an error. Garrett Jones saved him from an error, another play, and it's ball 1. Down 5.
And he might try and go the other direction with 1.
Jones at third. Walker at second. Ludwig at first.
Thinking about not hitting a ground ball. Might try to.
Oh my, how about this? 3 at bats. He's hit into 3 double plays, and the boos rain down on Pedro Alvarez. Ticket purchased for any of the remaining home games for the rest of the year. Don't miss out on some great promotions, some key divisional matchups, fireworks, and more. Go to Pirates.com. No service fees now through Sunday. As Tony Watson goes back on the hill to face Will Venable, who's 2 for 2. Boy, that's why this
about
game
as
is
rough
so
a night
tough.
as you can have to this point of the game. I had him tabbed for a big night at the plate. Certainly has been the opposite of that so far with the 3 double play balls, and that one there. The reason that one really hurts is you just pray you get a situation like that when you fall behind by 5 runs, where you get bases loaded in a big bat, where you can really get a, maybe not a home run, a double, clear the bases, get 3 runs in, and it just right at Hudson. That one there, of all of them, that was just tailor-made.
You have to be so.
You got to be mentally strong after
tough.
that. Wow,
no question.
Big crowd tonight, and I'm sure that there's some people over there that are on him. It comes with the territory of being a big leaguer. You better have some thick skin.
I mean, it's tearing them up, but you got to put it behind you, work. Maybe get another opportunity as this broken bat soft liner into Jones's glove. Watson 3 up and 3 down.
The Pirates now 12 hits on the night in 4 innings. How about that? How would you like to be Harang? He scattered 12 hits in 4 innings.
Giving up 4 runs.
And one of those on just 1 hit, a home run.
Yeah. It's the most hits he's allowed all season.
I would say it would be, there's no way for me to know for sure, but through 4 hits in a ball game or 4 innings, I'm sure he's probably never in his career, which is a long time, a lot of innings, given up 12 base hits. First 4 innings of a ball game. That's hard to do and still be out there. That's the main reason it's so hard to do. They usually come get you long before that.
1 and 2 on Kyle Blanks.
Watson sure carving out a spot for himself in that bullpen for next year with the work he's been doing. Check swing rolls foul. A couple times out there where things haven't gone very well. Been a little wild once or twice, but for the most part, for a young left-hander, he's done well. And it has not been in the traditional young lefty in the bullpen where he's coming in to pitch to lefties and they're trying to protect him a little bit. Now Watson goes out there and pitches 2 or 3 innings sometimes. Left-handers, right-handers, doesn't matter at all.
Oh, hooking.
Hope it's foul.
Hits the pole. It's a home run for Kyle Blanks.
That one was hit hard. That one shook the pole a little bit.
His first of the season and 10 for San Diego.
And another opposition home run. And the thing about a lot of these home runs is they're not just barely getting over the fence. This is almost a line drive halfway up the foul pole.
Kyle Blanks, who hit 3 last year. This big man, it's a big home run. Way up the foul pole.
$18 home runs now since last Friday.
12 in the last 4 games. Staff gave up 3 last night. Starlin Castro's home run, the difference in Wednesday night's game, and of course that 6-homer game on Tuesday. Back goes Paul to record the second out on an 0-2 pitch.
Watch that home run again, Blanks. It's a fastball that's up and in, and he just tomahawked it. Look at the flight of the baseball, and AGH cam slams into the screen.
Kyle Blanks back in the big leagues, getting the opportunity after Ludwig was traded to Pittsburgh. Kyle Blanks, a 42nd round pick, all rolled to second. Padres add to the lead. They're up by 6. Ryan Domit's home run, his last time up in the 3rd inning. His first since coming off the DL, his 5th of the year, gave the Pirates a 4-3 lead. Cold Hard Blast, brought to you by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Well, things changed in a hurry as the Padres scored 6 in the fourth. They add to the lead with the Blanks home run. A bit of trouble getting the third base bag in there.
Could be wrong with it, Greg.
I don't know. Looks like that's Derek Hurlbert trying to work on it there.
Looks like it might be a little loose. Yeah, it's loose, not tight.
I think Tim McClellan's going to go for that.
No, he's not going to want it. I mean, look at it. It's like
played in the backyard.
Yeah. I mean, I've played baseball in fields with bags that move a lot more than that, but
well, they're going to go ahead and play with it like that.
You know, they kicked it, but I think they kicked it too much. It's still not straight.
Right.
But being straight, you know, that's not that big of a deal. It's loose, guys making turns, running. You want it, when you step on it, it's got to be firm. You don't want it to move.
Well, Domit having himself a nice night. A couple of hits last night. An opposite field single to start the bottom half of inning number 5, and that is 13 hits.
Somewhere somebody's trying to calculate what's the most hits anybody's given up in 5 innings. They will definitely try to get him through this 5th inning, so he will be the pitcher of record. They hold on to the lead. It might be a while the way the game's gone for him. Hadn't been fooling a lot of these Pirate hitters tonight.
Two 2-0 on Xavier Paul. A bunt single in the second and doubled into the right field corner his last time up. Luke Gregerson. No surprise the Padres have a very, very strong bullpen again this year. The strike is called 2-1.
Well, that really is the way they expect to win. They have to do it with the pitching. They take advantage of their ballpark. And they just say, okay, we're going to outpitch you. We're not going to score a lot of runs. Tonight is obviously not their style of baseball by a mile. But normally they try to win games 3-2, 4-2, 2-1. Try to do it the old-fashioned way. They just try to outpitch you.
Sliced into the seats. 3-2 count on Xavier Paul, getting the start in right field against the righty Aaron Harang. Harang's back-to-back 16-win seasons in 2006 and 2007 for the Cincinnati Reds. Five years ago, led the National League in strikeouts and complete games. Pitched 234 innings, but yet did not receive a single vote for the Cy Young Award. The only pitcher in the then 50-year history of the award to lead his league in wins and strikeouts and not win the award.
That didn't get a vote.
Yeah, not even a vote.
If I remember correctly, one of his teammates did get votes.
Is that Arroyo?
Yeah.
Still 3-2.
Underappreciated.
230 innings plus back-to-back in 06 and 07.
He doesn't have quite the stuff he had back then.
He's had some injuries.
He'd get a lot of those strikeouts. He had a real good fastball that he loved to work upstairs. Get a lot of swings and misses off that pitch. A lot of lazy flyouts.
Another 3-2. Another foul ball. Harang, who spent some time on the disabled list this year with a bruised right foot. Had him out 3 weeks, mid-June through July the 9th. Another foul ball. Paul was 1 out of 3 last night, drove in a run. Hitting .265 now. Picked up off waivers from the Dodgers in April. Still 3-2. And a nice at bat as he draws the walk. Down 6 to Harang. And Bud Black wants to get Harang this W.
But he wants to get the team the W.
Yep.
It's always a bit of a battle, I think, in a manager's mind. 5th inning is sometimes tough to make the decision.
Talking to Darren Bowles, he said, go out there and talk to him. And get that.
Tell him he better get some outs because it didn't look like Black was very happy there. I think he's getting impatient, anxious to pull the trigger on the move.
We invite you to save big this Sunday. Use your Giant Eagle Advantage card. Pirates Padres 135. Purchase tickets on the day of the game. You get $5 off select reserve seats. Purchase in advance. Double those savings to $10 off. To get tickets, visit the PNC Park ticket windows or go online at pirates.com/advantage card. This Sunday, and all kids 14 and under get Andrew McCutcheon drawstring bags. 2 on, nobody out, needing base runners. Needing to score a couple. Down 6 here in the 5th. Steve Pearce comes out on deck. And a pop up to right. So 1 away, and Pearce will be announced as the pinch hitter for Watson.
Another thing that you can't do when you fall behind by so many runs is it's hard to play low ball. That normally they're a 2 or 3 run ball game. I'm sure with Pearce coming up as a pinch hitter, you might ask Daniel, hey, move a couple runners in the scoring position here so we can get a base hit, we can get a couple runs in. But you got to play for the big inning now. This crowd is just dying for something big to happen.
Pearce dying to collect a big hit. 2 for 24 in the 12 games since coming off the DL. And in the hole 0-2.
Fans have had so much fun here at this ballpark this season. Not only just coming to the ball games, but dressing up in costume and just going crazy, yelling, having a good time. It has been an amazing summer.
Shortstop Bartlett will toss to second. They get 1.
into the bat. Just a roller. Definitely not a double play ball. There it is. Just right off the end of the bat. A little velocity on it. Harlan had to come a long way and make a very uncomfortable feed.
So Doman at third, and Pierce continues his struggles now at first base, and Andrew McCutchen at the plate. And a high fly ball.
Did he? Nope. Routine.
10-4, San Diego.
Check out tonight's Coors Light Freeze Cam. Drive to deep center field. Looked like Kutch had a shot at it. Timed his leap. How did he miss it? Freeze it. Just behind the glove. Quarter of an inch. That's all he missed it by. That's the Coors Light Freeze Cam, brought to you by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And that's the moon.
10-4, San Diego. Jason Grilli takes over.
I get tired of those shots in the moon. I love those for some reason. I don't know.
It's cool.
You just stare at them.
Yep.
Did you have a telescope as a kid?
Oh, yeah. You?
Oh, yeah. I went out there many times with the big full moons in the summertime. You get up there and just stare at it for a while, pretend you're a scientist.
Yeah. It's something you never get tired of, those shots, really any shot from this ballpark. We say it time and time again, and we apologize for sometimes our redundancy when it comes to it, but I think it's so important that you stress it, because you know, if you've been here from any angle, whether you're looking up, heck, for that matter, at the moon or across to this beautiful city, that shot, I mean, it's just absolutely spectacular. Despite this score.
And believe us when we say this, everywhere we go all over the country, anybody that's been here tells us we got the most awesome ballpark they've ever been to. And they love this place. Everybody does. Every baseball fan in America loves this place. It's become a spot when you're making a baseball pilgrimage somewhere. PNC Park has become one of those you got to go to baseball parks.
And it's even more spectacular when it's filled. And most times this season, the Pirates have come through, and throw there by Cedeno in the dirt, and worse, it goes into the camera well. So that error will be a 2-base miscue. And looks like Cedeno looking up at that moon.
The way this ball game has gone, I'm surprised it's not a full moon, Greg.
Yeah.
Everything looked pretty good there. Got a nice waist high hop. Little crow hop. And threw it in the dirt.
And his error number 7 on the year for Cedeno. To give you some comparison, Jason Bartlett of the Padres has committed 17. Cedeno among the league leaders. Bartlett down toward the bottom. Starlin Castro, we just saw, has 18. The Cubs shortstop. By the way, those Cubs won again today, hosting the Reds, beat Cincy 4-3. So all of a sudden the Cubs are on a roll. They've won 6 straight. Ryan Dempster beat Mike Leake. Carlos Marmol the save. The Reds have lost 3 of their last 4. Grilly's numbers since joining the Pirates from the Phillies organization. Tony Campana hit an inside the park home run for the Cubs, his first big league homer.
There's a day game today in Chicago, Greg?
Yep. First time ever a Cubs player used the inside the park homer for his first in the big leagues.
They had to get home fairly late last night, then head right to the ballpark for breakfast.
A walk to Bartlett. Now it's Chase Headley. Headley's home run, a grand slam, first of his career. It was Bartlett at the plate. My apologies. I thought he had called ball 4. So did he. And now it's ball 4.
This was the pitch where he thought he had ball 4. Just caught the corner. Well, he didn't realize it at all. He had taken off all of his paraphernalia.
Tim McClellan, it is really tough not to make excuses, but when he calls the strikes, it's the right forearm in front of his body, and from our vantage point, you just can't see it.
Well, apparently hear it.
Or hear it, yeah.
And I guess he's got voice box problem.
So now it's Chase Headley. Crew chief Tim McClellan, Ted Barrett, Brian Runge, Marvin Hudson around the bases. Mentioned earlier that Headley's career high 5-hit game occurred right here at PNC Park a couple years ago. And tonight it's his first career grand slam. Padres have won 6 straight games here at PNC Park. Of their last 13 they've won here, and all time they're 23-9 against the Bucks in the Pirates' home yard.
So unexpected tonight. The Padres coming in, they just don't have much of an offense this year. Don't hit a lot of home runs. Coming into the game, they had just hit 58 home runs as a team on the whole season.
Saw that mark there, the best winning percentage of any team here at PNC Park. And despite an overall record, their last place in the National League West, just 48 wins, 64 losses, they do a pretty good job on the road. They're, again, relatively speaking, decent job, 25-28 on the road. Bud Black, that 90-win season last year, a 15-game turnaround from 2009. Grilly strikes out Headley.
If this was a strike or not that he chased upstairs. No. Oh, yeah, it was. It lit up yellow. See that the strike zone go yellow, you know it's in there.
Jesus Guzman. Close at second.
Real close. Good timing. Walker and Grilly. Watch Walker. There's the break. Perfect. Made it close. Nobody home that time. I was just chasing back.
They've been reaching on the two-base error. Guzman has singled, reached on an error, and grounded out. 27-year-old native of Venezuela. Fastball, the check swing. And a ball, a strike. Played last year, all of last year. AAA Fresno in the Giants organization. Another try. This time, the out call.
And this one was easy. Ooh, not easy. Boy, it sure looked like they had him by a mile, didn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't. But they got the call nonetheless. The throw really got there in plenty of time. That's why I think I was so sure it was easy. We got a shot from the AGH cam. This will tell for sure. I think he was safe, Greg. What do you think?
Don't know.
Oh, the AGH cam, you couldn't tell.
No.
Wow.
His, the hand was blocked by the foot of Neil Walker.
You couldn't see the hand.
Did he get the palm in there? Did he get the fingertip? Really fired up. 10-4. Marlins are tied at 2 in Miami. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Brewers lead 6-1. Bottom of the 3rd in Houston. And as we said, the Cubs beat the Reds 4-3. Braves up by 1 on the Mets. They're underway at Coors Field. The Nationals have a 2-0 lead over the Rockies in the 2nd. Tonight, the Diamondbacks host the Los Angeles Dodgers. Phillies take on the Giants in San Francisco at AT&T Park. Young Bucco fan.
Gotta look inside that camera.
Born to play, says that T-shirt.
Picture of the parrot on there.
Bottom of the 6th, Aaron Harang out of there.
New hurler. This is Spencer Thatcher.
It is indeed.
Joe Thatcher.
Just off the disabled list today. Long road back for Thatcher. Dio with a strained left shoulder since March the 29th. Surgery on May the 2nd. So Harang survived 5 innings, 13 hits, 4 runs. Harang walked a couple and struck out 1. Bounced to Orlando Hudson.
He's been everywhere. We've just been hitting everything at him.
Well, former products of the Twins organization. Garrett Jones and Orlando Hudson, and now Neil Walker, 2 out of 3. Those Twins trying to make a run. They started the day 8 back of the Tigers in the American League Central in 4th place. Detroit leads Kansas City 3-0 in the 5th inning. Cleveland is up by 4 on Texas and Arlington in the 3rd. The Tribe 3 back of Detroit. And Walker batting from the right side, flies to center. Maven.
Diving catch by Maven.
Apparently thinking that, I don't know what he thought.
He thought that there's a guy that weighs 270 pounds right next to him, and I'm just going to reach over here. I'm not going to keep going. Yeah, he just
back off, buddy.
Yeah, he did. He backed off, but he wasn't going to just
wasn't so sure
stay in stride there. He was going to come to a stop and reach for that ball. Did not want to run into that man. Talk about the big outfielders. There's an awfully big outfielder in the Hall of Fame club tonight. The Cobra, Dave Parker, out in the Hall of Fame club, is our guest bartender tonight. Showed him on the scoreboard in between innings. Got a great hand from this packed crowd here tonight.
I think Dan Potash is going to talk with the Cobra.
Big and athletic. Run, hit, cannon for an arm. Cobra could do it all. He's in the middle of that crowd in there somewhere. Hall of Fame club, a great place if you come to the ballpark. You don't need any kind of special ticket. If you have a ticket to get into the ballpark, doesn't matter if you're on the club level or out in the bleachers. You can go in the Hall of Fame club, have some drinks at the bar, go in there, have dinner, great restaurant, stand there at the window, watch the game. And they stay open. They have some great specials in there after the game, after the game's over. Really one of the super spots here at PNC Park. Greg and I broadcast a game from there. Was that last year we did that? 2 years ago.
Yes, sir. It was last year.
All I remember about that really is the chocolate cake.
Was that when Blass ended up with some of that somehow? Remember we had a shot of the radio booth?
I don't know if he had any or not.
I think so. I think he ended up with some. We were.
That's a shock, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
He had something to eat in the radio booth.
Ludwig looking for his 4th hit, 3 for 3 against his former club tonight. First inning RBI.
Another thing I remember, Greg, how about the sun? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
What the left fielder has to look into
Yeah.
for maybe the first inning and a half, 2 innings of a ball game in the middle of the summer. Sets behind us. You might still be able to see the sun as tall as he is. Even though the rest of us are in the dark.
Line foul.
Look out.
Last time Brian Ludwig had a 5-hit game. As we said, he's 3 for 3 tonight. One career 5-hit game. It was here. September 4th, 2009 as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Battling Thatcher. 10th pitch. And another foul.
Hey, Greg, how many pitches do you think is the record for an at-bat? 20?
Somebody actually asked me that a couple of weeks ago. Do you know the answer to that?
No, I don't. And the reason I'm asking it is somebody asked me that about a week ago. And I don't know. Somebody had to take. I'm
I don't know
sure years ago they didn't take.
No, I'm saying
they,
so.
they
You'd have to say in the last probably 20 years they probably have recorded
paid
that.
attention to that. Somebody somewhere knows the most.
And veteran baseball fans, this is a great at bat despite being down 6. Ludwig not giving up an at bat.
Sure was.
Veteran baseball fans, I'm sure, will point to players. Even if you were to say, well, the record is 20, 25, whatever, they say, I saw Richie Ashburn have a 35 pitch at bat. Richie Ashburn known for years as the man who fouled off more pitches than anybody, and here now Pedro Alvarez to the plate. Look at that line for
trying to get Cobra's autograph. Talk to him a little bit. Belly up to the bar. Luke Appling, Greg, Chicago White Sox shortstop, I believe, also known for long at bats, fouling off a lot of pitches.
A forgettable night, no doubt, for Pedro Alvarez. He'll have many, many evenings where he'll be asked to come out for curtain calls. But not tonight.
Definitely a learning experience for him tonight. A number of things. You have to be able to close your ears off to the crowd at times. I'm sure he'll watch some film of these at bats, see if there was something he could have done differently earlier in the ball game. He's hit the ball 3 times in a row to Hudson.
Rough one. On to the 7th. For the Buccos, tomorrow night, 6:30, Game 2 of the 3-game series. Our pregame begins at 6:30, Sunday 1 o'clock. And then on the road, San Francisco, 3 against the Giants. 2 night games, and then that 3 o'clock start on Wednesday. Hudson 1 for 3. Doubled and scored in second. Doubled off the wall in center field in the second inning. Eric Cameron loosens in the bullpen for the Padres. They're beginning a 3-city 10-game road trip tonight. 3 here in Pittsburgh, and then they move on to New York for 4. Finish up in Cincinnati. Padres came in having lost 9 of their last 13 and 17 of 25 since July the 6th. We talked earlier about the fact that the Padres had the best record in the National League August 25th last year, and they went 14 and 23 the rest of the way. They also had to endure a 10-game losing streak from the end of August to early September. Disappointing finish, but still a strong 90-win season, as Hudson draws the leadoff walk, second for Grilli. Brings up Will Venable. A couple of hits and 3 at-bats. Grilli's second inning of work. Struck out a couple to end the 6th.
Big pick off at second base.
Toward right center. Oh my. Paul can't make the play, and this will go all the way to the wall.
Did he maybe lose that in the lights?
That's very, very possible. Toward the plate, safe. And all the way to third goes Venable. 11 runs in.
It wasn't going to be a real easy catch, but at the same time, it looked like he had a bead on it, and something happened. Let's see if he shies away. I didn't see him turn his head. You know, if he lost it in the lights, you would see him turn his head at the last moment, but I didn't see that. If anything, maybe a cleat got stuck in the grass as he went sliding. Venable thought it was going to be caught. He almost came to a stop going to first base.
(11-4). Big Kyle Blanks. Blanks hit the home run off the foul pole and left. Way up that foul pole. Pitch a little up and in from Grilli. Here's a look at his 5th inning home run off Watson. That was a bomb.
Yes, he did.
3rd strikeout for Grilli.
Looks like Blanks has a lot of raw material to work with, but may have a ways to go yet. he needs to be a little bit more polished as a hitter. Obviously, a lot of raw power.
Blanks, he said, was a 42nd round pick in 2004, the 1,241st player chosen. .6'6", 272 pounds. Kyle Blanks. Now with 5 hits in 36 Major League at-bats this season, with his 2-for-4 performance tonight and his first home run of the year. Chopper. Cedeno will score a run. 2 outs.
Cedeno, nice little play on the high chopper. This really is his, at least with the Pirates, we get to see him every day play in Chicago, obviously. But with the Bucks, this is his best defensive effort this season. He's got an error tonight on a pretty easy play, but he has made a lot of plays like that last one he just made. Probably a ball that when he threw in the dirt could have been picked too by Jones. It wasn't all that difficult of a play for a first baseman.
And a drive hit to left field, sending Ludwig back, and it's another home run.
Number 19, I believe now.
Aaron Cunningham's first. This is his 12th game in the big leagues this season. Cunningham, his 4th Major League home run, a pinch hit dinger.
Well, this home run situation is just definitely sticking out there like a sore thumb. Pitch on the inside half of the plate. Looked like a ball that was very, very close to being the same spot in the strike zone at the one where Blanks put it off the foul pole.
(13-4) San Diego. Aaron Cunningham was recalled on Monday from AAA. Two and 1 on Maben. Now 3-2.
Really giving him his real good breaking ball there down and away. See if he can get a chase. Couldn't do it. Got to come to him now. Throw another breaking ball.
Really starts walking toward the dugout, thinking that's strike 3, and he's barking at Tim McClellan.
Take a look at the strike zone. See, called it outside just as McClellan did.
Ray Searage goes out. Just a sudden turn of this pitching staff. Really hopeful that the starts by Morton and even McDonald, despite the fact that McDonald gave up 3 home runs in last night's game, just 4 hits, and he recovered. Hopeful that it was a sign that the staff would start to right the ship. Jason Grilly getting roughed up. 13 home runs allowed by the pitchers in the last 4 games here at PNC Park.
It's a very physically demanding 4-game series down in the heat of Atlanta. You just got to wonder, especially think of how many innings they had to pitch. Did that have some kind of an effect on these guys?
Clint
Hurdle. That time of year where you and I were talking about earlier. It's August. You guys are they starting to run out a little gas physically?
Clint Hurdle talking about collateral damage that series might have done. And finally, the 7th inning is over, but the folks going to stand. Baseball tradition. Enjoy the singing of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" here at PNC Park, despite the 13-4 lead for San Diego.
And join everyone watching at home on Root Sports as we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
To the bottom of the 7th inning. It's been all Padres since about the 4th inning on. Four-time All-Star. You hear the chants of Hall of Fame. Dave Parker has said if you look at those numbers he has put up in his career, he believes it's Hall of Fame worthy. Parker, just as you said, Bob, talking about the 5 tools, he absolutely had it all.
There was nothing that he couldn't do on a baseball field. The power, the batting average, the speed, the defensive abilities. It was a really incredible time for Dave Parker back then. He had all those turf fields where speed was such a big part of the game, and he could have that, but the combination of the power that he had, just an amazing deal. He and Stargell right there back to back. Such a challenge to try and get through that part of the lineup with those two guys.
The MVP in 1978. Fly ball toward left off the bat of Ryan Doumit. And now the center fielder Maben makes the catch. The new pitcher Eric Hamren It was on this date, 1977, that many Pirate fans will say that was his finest year. 215 hits to lead the league, 44 doubles, 338 batting average, scoring 107 runs, Gold Glove. He helped the Pirates on this date, 1977, August 5th, sweep the Reds by scores of 12-1 and 10-6. He had a 5 RBI performance in Game 1 with a pair of home runs. On base 4 times the next night. That was commonplace, really, for the Cobra, who wore number 39. Here's number 38, Xavier Paul. Count of 0-2. Been on base 3 times.
He scored the first run I ever gave up in my career, Dave Parker.
He did? Did he do it by what, coming home on a double?
No, he did it by jogging home in front of a Willie Stargell long ball.
Oh, I see. Nicely done defensively there. Guzman to the new pitcher, Hamrin.
Play on it. Nice defensive play. Get over there in front of Paul. He gets down that line as good as anybody on that left side. Was that he beat to the bag the other night? That in Atlanta?
Liner to center field for Ronnie Cedeno.
Maybe it was last homestand.
No, it was. I think it was definitely on the road. He beat someone to the bag. Diaz will pinch hit.
I know it ignited a win for us, so I'm thinking it had to be Atlanta if it was on the road. But I'm thinking now that it was last homestand because the crowd went
I can't
crazy.
believe it was that long ago. Yeah, but
he stole second.
Yeah, you're right. It had to be last homestand. The game that the Pirates beat the Cardinals in the finale of the series on a Sunday afternoon.
Yep. It was that ground ball to Pujols, and he threw it real easy.
This is it. 1 out, 10th inning. Jason Mott not there. Stolen base. Gerald Laro's throw into center field for the air, and the sacrifice fly by Chase Darno.
He took that game by the scruff of its neck, and we're winning this. A routine ground ball to first and turned it into a game winner. And really, when it comes to our offense, it's contributed much more speed-wise than any other way this year. Plays like that.
Pirates certainly have changed considerably with the injuries to some speed players like Tabata, like Presley and Darno, Josh Harrison back down in the minor leagues. Alex Presley starting to swing the bat at least. Talked about it before. He has said now he's probably come to the realization that he's going to have to just live with it the rest of the year, and hopefully an off season will remedy that nerve issue between the forefinger and left thumb.
It'll be interesting the off season for the Pirates to to see which way they decide to go as far as the character of their offense. Are they going to commit to the fast guys, or which direction do you go with this team? Sure hope to get Tabata back before the end of the season. He has been missed greatly this year.
As we said, he starts his rehab, resumes it, I should say. AAA Indianapolis, flew there today.
You just don't know. I mean, it's so confusing. He's been in such a up and down roller coaster ride with that quad injury. Some days okay, some days no. And
2 days ago, went to him and said, "How you doing?" And he was just really upset because it wasn't seeing significant, consistent progress. He said, "Well, one day it's okay. I think I'm getting better. And the next day it's bad again." Yesterday he was in as good a mood as at least I've seen him in a while. So maybe starting to see significant progress.
When you look back to last season, he was such a spark plug clutch hitter. We just watched that infield hit of Paul's. I mean, he was getting 2 or 3 of those infield hits a week last year. So quick with that first step, stealing bases. He has been greatly missed. A shot up at Xavier Paul sitting in the dugout.
Full count on McCutchen. And up and in. 13-4 game. Hamren has walked back-to-back hitters.
Not like he just missed here, too. Ball 4 is 3 feet out of the strike zone. Now, what were you aiming at to throw the ball up there?
I know we've talked about this.
3-ball pitch, 13-4.
I've asked you this before. For a guy that makes his living,
how do you miss by that
I don't
much?
get it. I just don't understand it.
I mean, I see guys miss it a long ways. Usually it's a breaking ball or something. But on a 3-ball pitch, 13-4, you are looking right down the center of the plate. Here, hit this ball. But, he's probably wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
And I have been out there wondering the same thing. Can I get this somewhere where the catcher can catch it? It's not easy. It does happen. But you would think once you get to this level of play as a pitcher, that sort of thing wouldn't happen, but it does.
And it's 2-0. I've heard position players no longer in the game say, former big leaguers say, "I promise you, if I get on that mound, I could throw at least a strike." As you say, Bob.
Well, I'm sure they're right.
But how it happens.
I've heard John say that many times.
Like I said, I won't name names. But now it's 3-0. In danger of walking 3 straight with a 13-4 lead.
I mean, I've gone out
That's
there.
Unbelievable.
I've gone out there. I can't throw a ball through a doorway. What are you going to do?
Brings in a run. It just boggles the mind. Imagine what Bud Black is thinking. Well, he's thinking, no more am I going to watch this. Get him out of here. pitcher in that bullpen. Luke Gregerson, who was up earlier in this ball game when it looked as though the Pirates had Harang on the ropes. Quickly up again and now quickly into the ball game.
Sponsored by Levin Furniture, home of the Tempur-Pedic, the most recommended mattress in America. Let's go Bucks!
News and notes from around the minor leagues. Jordy Mercer 1 for 3, double and a run scored, but Indy trails at home to Toledo at Blair County Ballpark. Beats Trenton 8-2. Starling Marte 3 for 5 with a home run, and West Virginia the power leading in their game in the ninth inning 7-3. Mel Rojas 2 out of 5 with a ribby and 2-run score. Luke Gregerson will look for the final out in the seventh inning, 13-5 in favor of the San Diego Padres. And just one note on Eric Cameron, just to tell you how some pitchers just for whatever the big league atmosphere, they try and maybe do more than they're capable of. He, in the minor leagues this season, and he made his big league debut the other day on Monday, pitched a scoreless ninth inning. Had an 0.96 ERA, was 5-0, 69 strikeouts, just 14 walks in the minors. He got the first 2 outs here in the seventh, gave up the base hit to Cedeno, then walked the next 3. Diaz, McCutcheon. Garrett Jones gets the RBI with the bases loaded walk.
You can be affected by the situation you're in sometimes. Start squeezing that baseball, it just won't come out of your hand. Start looking around you, all the people, bases loaded. Ball won't come out of my hand. What's going on? That's why I invented the telephone pole. Didn't have to worry about any of that.
In your mind?
Yep.
You're no longer throwing anywhere but at the telephone pole?
No, I was just out the side of the road, little kid throwing rocks at a telephone pole. And all of a sudden I was hitting the strike zone again. You play those little mental games with yourself. You forget about the guys on base. Forget about how mad the manager is that you can't throw a strike. Forget about the regular player over at third base thinking I could throw a strike every time. Why can't he?
Because you know that's what he's thinking.
Oh,
right?
yeah. You got to take yourself mentally out of that situation so that none of that is going on around you. And all you're doing is just like you're back being a kid trying to hit something with a rock again. when you think about it, you take a bag of 50 baseballs, get 60 feet away from the telephone pole, you hit every single time. It's easy. But you get in this situation, and now it's tough.
Gregerson gets the last out after the struggles of Eric Hamren. On to the 8th inning. Padres up by a bunch. Regarding Evan Meek, 60-day disabled, right shoulder tendonitis. Remains in Florida, rehabbing, scheduled to throw another 35-pitch bullpen session on Monday. Pirates hopeful that he will be back before the end of the month. Evan Meek. Bullpen, for the most part, no doubt this year, has done a nice job, but you just wonder how much better it would have been had Meek stayed healthy and set up. And you know that ideally they'd love to have had Meek be the 8th inning guy and Hanrahan the 9th inning.
I'm sure that was the plan going into the season, but right from the very beginning you could tell Meek there was something wrong. He didn't have his fastball that he had in the past, especially last season. And he definitely is a power pitcher. He started to rely more and more and more on his breaking pitch, and it just wasn't working for him.
Daniel McCutcheon gave up 3 runs last night, 8th inning. A leadoff hit to Reed Johnson, and gave up a single to Starlin Castro and hit Darwin Barney. That was it for him. All 3 runs scored and suffered the loss. Jason Grilli went 2 innings, gave up 3 runs, walked 3. To left field, and that's a fair ball. And holding him to a long single is Pedro Alvarez. Chase Headley's second hit.
They have hit the ball out of the ballpark a bunch, but they also have had some of these kind of hits tonight. Well placed ground balls, some little bloopers, and now this one, it's a pop fly that just right next to the chalk line.
A 13-5 game. Runner not going to second.
No, it's going to have to go to the backstop to take off now. You're not even holding him on. Jones way back on the grass. This one's done. You're just trying to get it home and survive. Come back tomorrow. Start all over again. Look to Paul Maholm tomorrow. See if he can put an end to this losing streak.
Two-one count on Guzman. 13 runs, 13 hits. The Pirates have left 13 men on base. They've scored 5 runs on 14 hits. Obviously, the Pirates pitching not good by that score, but the Pirate hitters just 3 for 13 with men in scoring position. They were 2 for 2 through the first 4 hitters of the ball game. And a drive to left field. Back is Ludwig. Is this another home run? Yes, it is. And deep again. This is incredible. 4 home runs tonight for the Padres. 14 allowed in the last 4 games by Pirates pitchers. Guzman's 5th.
Don't have the answer, Rick. It's something that I don't think we have ever seen a stretch like this, have we?
I can't recall it. As we keep stressing, it's not just like they're cheapies.
You play clubs like Philadelphia, obviously.
Right. You expect some home runs.
Yeah, and Chicago, they got some home run power. But for the Padres to come out and do this is a shock. They have not hit a lot of home runs all year. What was it, 58 coming in?
58 coming in, the fewest. But 4 tonight.
Way back underneath the second deck.
Most home runs they've hit in a ball game. Action lines out to center. A text to the booth question. Bob, what are some things a player or team can do to get out of a losing streak? From Paul.
Well, the reality is it's normally a great effort from a starting pitcher that goes out there and really shuts somebody down. And, you win a game 2-1, 1-0. That's probably the most common way a team can end something like this. That's why everybody likes to have at least one of those big horses in their rotation, so you stay out of these type of losing streaks. But as far as kind of the fun ways that they do it, they're all very superstitious. All the guys that are in the clubhouse, in the dugout. One of the craziest things we did, this was organized by Michael Valier. It was in San Diego. Everybody in the clubhouse had to give up some item out of their locker that they really liked. It was like a, could have been anything. A favorite T-shirt you always wore underneath your uniform, anything that you had to have. We had a big pile of everybody's favorite stuff out of their locker, and we lit it all on fire, poured a bunch of alcohol on it, and had a sacrifice.
Everybody's favorite thing.
Whatever they had, that was something that, it couldn't be something you were going to throw away. It had to be something you really liked. And you would toss it into the pile, and
we made a little sacrifice, and I think we lost 4 more after this.
I don't know, but
did it work?
But those are the little things that grown men will do.
Yeah.
Just you try to break this kind of thing.
I think I'm on with Steve tomorrow night. We'll have to think of something creative for our open. Be tuning in at 7. I know Steve will have an idea. I think we walked under a ladder last year.
Well, that first day back off the road trip after we got swept in Philly, I broke out the real ultra bright yellow shirt, trying different things. Nothing has seemed to have worked. There's Steven.
Maybe we'll bring back one of those ties. Blanks down on strikes. Padres bringing out the home run bats, leading at 15-5. ADL by the Marlins. Nate McLouth underwent sports hernia surgery. He's going to be out at least 6 weeks. That pretty much does it for him for this year. Juan Nicasio of the Rockies was hit in the head by an Ian Desmond line drive, carted off the field against the Nationals. And Steven Strasburg, scheduled to make his first rehab start Sunday, expected to return to the Nationals sometime in September. Ludwig looks for his 4th hit. And the man on deck, Pedro Alvarez. Even though it's too late to avenge what has happened to him tonight, getting into 3 double plays. He'll have one more at bat, and then a new day tomorrow. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Ludwig. Pirates scored twice in the first. A Walker single, a Ludwig base hit. First 4 men reached, and then Alvarez hit into the double play. Padres tied it against Karstens in the second. Joe Beimel loosens in the pen for Pittsburgh. Pirates regain the lead in the bottom of the second inning on a base hit by Ronnie Cedeno. And then the Padres tied it at 3 in the third. Bucks got the lead back on a Ryan Doman home run in the bottom half of the third inning. And the fourth, the Padres chased Karstens as they collected 5 hits. The capper, the Chase Headley grand slam. They have hit a season high 4 home runs. Headley's first career granny, his 4th of the year. Kyle Blanks, Aaron Cunningham, and Jesus Guzman also have hit home runs, and it is a 4-hit night for Ludwig. On base all 5 times, and on base 7 times in his last 8 plate appearances.
He's not really cheapies either. He's hit the ball sharply. Even his ground ball base hits have been just like this, right on the head of the bat. Pow.
Alvarez has hit into 3 double plays. The 3rd Pirate, apparently, we're hearing the 3rd Pirate ever to hit into 3 double plays in the game. Roberto Clemente and Ralph Kiner also did it.
Well, he's in good company, isn't he?
I'll say.
Clemente and Kiner.
Clemente and Kiner, the others to hit into 3 double plays.
Nobody wears those 2 numbers anymore. 21 and 4. Put away forever.
Two and 1. Three ball, 1 strike count on Alvarez. Just really, again, the game is over. But you want to have him have something positive happen to him tonight. You know what you don't want? 3 and 2. Alvarez hit .256 last season in 95 games with 16 homers.
Actually, trying to take a ball to left field.
Yep.
Or, at least maybe center field.
3 ground balls right to that man, Orlando Hudson, pulling the ball. With 3 previous at bats.
It's not like you can't pull the ball, but it's just when you're putting everything on the ground.
Oh my goodness. Not going to be a double play, but he's going to have, as we said, a very, very forgettable night.
Tough kid. Shake it off. Be out there tomorrow. Be a new day. Yeah, Hudson is everywhere.
Two-hit night for Domet. Takes a strike. Pirates with 15 hits.
I think I heard Tim McCloud say strike.
Yep. Shortstop out. That is Alberto Gonzalez. 2 outs in the 8th.
Do you think he said something, or Bartlett just didn't hear him when he took all his shin guards and everything off and tried to go down first base? That was the oddest thing.
Yeah, that's a good question, because obviously if you heard him, you're not going to do what Bartlett did.
I was going to try and listen to see if he did, and I'd forgot all about it, but I definitely heard him call a strike on Domet.
Well, let's listen in.
Didn't really say strike. It kind of went,
yeah.
You know, umpires will do. I heard something there.
I don't know what we can do, Ricky. Should we, if we're quiet, can we?
It actually sounded kind of like a pirate. I think it kind of went R. It went R.
Yeah, let's listen. Obviously nothing.
Now we're going to have to get a called strike.
Well, I know, we're not rooting for it, but
well, I know that, but I don't think we're going to get it. We got a called strike one, yeah. Some umpires are just really demonstrative.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you don't need the crowd mic down.
Oh yeah, they'll scream strike. They give a big right arm. But McClellan,
he's about as nonchalant as any umpire you'll ever see.
He doesn't do that.
Bounce to first, a little stumble, but beats Hall to the bag. Onto the ninth, 15-5. Controversial call, maybe ever, certainly by McClellan. July 24th, 1983, George Brett hits this ninth inning home run at Yankee Stadium, supposedly giving them the lead, but too much pine tar, according to McClellan, as Billy Martin came out to request that they look at it, and Brett goes crazy. The home run taken away, protested. Then American League President Lee McPhail upheld that protest and ordered that the game be restarted from the point of Brett's home run. It was restarted later that year, officially ended with the Royals winning the game. But McClellan, for that moment, took away the home run by George Brett back in 1983.
You see his umpiring style has changed quite a bit over the years. It's a lot of years, obviously, but it looked to me like he was down on one knee when he was calling balls and strikes back then. I don't think you see that anymore.
No. Joe Beimel will work this ninth inning and put this one away. Beimel sporting the long stash now as he faces Luis Martinez. Daniel McCutcheon gives up a couple. Martinez hit by a pitch.
Hip check. If you're going to get hit, that's where you want to take it.
3 RBI night for Martinez. Alberto Gonzalez took over at shortstop, his first at bat. San Diego Padres will win for the 49th time. The Pirates will fall to 54 and 57. A losing streak that will reach 8. As Bob said, looking for Paul Mahalem to shut the door tomorrow.
There's Paul. His pitching coach, Ray Series. A long night for Ray.
Night for the hitters tonight. Combining for 29 hits, these two clubs. But the Padres have certainly made their 14 hits count. Out homering the Pirates 4-1.
They've only left 4 men on base tonight.
The Bucks have left 14 men on. Brings up Cameron Maben. Padres fought till the end, trying to surprise everyone in the National League West last year. They're regrouping after the big trade of Adrian Gonzalez. Many thought that they would also trade Heath Bell by the trade deadline. That was one of the bigger surprises this past weekend. They did trade Mike Adams, the setup man, to Texas for 2 minor league pitchers, but Bell remains a Padre. They just knew they weren't going to be able to pay Adrian Gonzalez, so they dealt him for a handful of prospects.
You know, I don't think that they feel like they're all that far away. They had such a good year last season. So I don't think they want to like blow up and start over again.
Yeah, they still have the basics down for a strong, well, the rotation came into tonight with the 3rd lowest ERA in the National League, behind only the Phillies and Giants. One of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, the lefty, had season-ending left shoulder surgery recently. Bud Black, the former pitcher.
Kansas City Royal, he might have been at the Pine Tar game.
That's right. I bet she was. 1983, yeah. Made 24 starts that year for Kansas City. Two and two on Maben. Very talented center fielder, and starting to finally reach his potential now with San Diego. A 1st-round pick of the Tigers in 05, dealt to the Marlins, and traded to San Diego over the winter for Ryan Webb and Edward Mojica. Tonight, a double, an infield hit, and a walk, scoring a pair of runs. Plays outstanding defense. Came into tonight batting .273. He's up that. .24 years old. And the youngster is still hanging in there. 37,766. 13th sellout of the year. Another hit for Maben.
A good job by Pedro, just handing it back to Beimel. See in that shot when it started, he was playing very, very deep. Swing and bunt. Maben can fly down the line. Just have to take your medicine and pick it up and give it back to Beimel. I think you might have even been able to hear somebody, maybe somebody in the dugout yelling, "No, no, no."
Logan Forsythe bats.
Welcome back to being behind the plate.
On the pinch hitter Logan Forsythe. Two down in the ninth. Faces Chase Headley, who has 2 hits, the grand slam in the 4th.
It's a nice looking bat, isn't it? Look at the wood in that bat. They put swinging it around.
Chop to third. That'll do it. And we head to the bottom of the ninth.
And it's not going to get any easier when we get back out on the road, that is for sure. We go out to the West Coast and play the defending world champion San Francisco Giants. And then after a day off in Milwaukee, we have a weekend set with the Brewers, who have been tough for us to deal with for a while now. We need to get out of this funk in a hurry. And then, of course, we come home, St. Louis for 3, Cincinnati, and then Milwaukee again. It's just a tough August.
Dog days, right?
Yep.
The dog days are here. There you go. All you have to do is ask. First Bucco game and on TV on Root Sports. Most runs the Padres have scored this season. Maybe not a surprise. They have collected the 15 runs on 15 hits, the most hits this year. They had 23 against the Brewers in May. Rally hat on?
I think that was a rally hat. It's a true believer right there. 15-5 in the ninth.
Ernesto Frieri finishing things up for San Diego. Forsythe stays in the game to play second. Forsythe pinch hitting in the top of the ninth. One on Cedeno. On base 3 times.
I always like the way that the people behind the home plate area will scatter on those foul balls coming back. They know that screen's there. It's blocked every ball all night long, and they'll still run for cover. Frieri's numbers.
One away. Brandon Wood will bat. Wood at a pinch hit home run the other day against the Cubs. He has hit 6. Picked up by the Angels in April. From the Angels in April. The Angels started the day a game back of Texas in the American League West. Angels hosting Seattle tonight. Texas trailing Cleveland. Milwaukee a big lead over Houston in the 8th. St. Louis down Florida. Matt Holliday is 18th of the year. So the Cardinals likely to remain 3 back, and the Pirates will fall to 8 back. 2 down. Cincinnati also lost, so they would fall to 8.5 behind, the defending National League Central Division champions. 2 down, and Andrew McCutchen to the plate.
Have a good one tomorrow, Paul. We'll need you bad.
Domit McHenry talk. Gary Green, Pirates minor league infield coordinator. Derek Lee, thankfully just a bruised left hand. He hopes to be back tomorrow.
night for all those guys. That happened again. McClellan got another one, Greg.
Got another batter?
Yeah.
Fooled him?
Oh, yeah. Kutch dropped his bat, started to take the shin guard off.
And now waits and waits and waits and waits. There we go.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's what I'd do.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening. I haven't heard a thing either. I mean, you got to say something. If you don't say anything, see, he was taking off the shin guard. And then this one, he's going to wait, look. Finally looked like he asked. It was at ball 4, and McClellan nodded. I'm assuming that was what the question was. Here you are, Greg. Ask me again.
Bob, how can a man who makes his living pitching, leading 15-5, not throw a strike?
He went 3-0 on Cedeno, didn't he? 3-0 on McCutchen. Now 3-0 on Jones.
Now Frieri has been in the big leagues quite a bit the last couple of years, so the rookie thing doesn't hold.
Well, no, it's not a rookie thing.
The reason I bring that up is we're looking for reasons why Hamren might have walked a couple back in the 7th, just his second big league appearance. And as you said, sometimes you get to the big leagues, you start pulling the ball tighter and things like that. Yeah. So that doesn't hold for this guy.
No, that's not the case here. Something else going on. But he's certainly is struggling trying to find the plate. He's thrown 7 strikes and 12 balls in this inning with a 10-run lead. Strike.
Walker, a couple of hits. Pirates are 3 for 15 with men in scoring position. They were 2 for 3 after Ludwig singled in the first, and then Alvarez grounded into a double play in the first inning. They've had 1 hit with men in scoring position since, and they have left 14 men on. So no doubt it's a pitching issue tonight, but the offense, even though they have collected 15 hits, could have scored more runs.
It's still a pitching issue, though, as you said, and that's what carried this team for all the way into this month of August. Is this strong starting pitching.
It was no secret that that's what did it.
And that's why we've come into this losing streak, is the starting pitching just hasn't done as well.
Shallow left, third baseman out. That is Chase Headley who puts it away and puts an end to a long, miserable night. After the 3rd inning, the Pirates had that 4-3 lead. Padres took it to the Bucks.